Imagine this for a second. A lone pilot, the sky a dizzying canvas of smoke and tracers, suddenly finds himself surrounded by 10 enemy jets. Missiles are screaming in from every direction. The cockpit alarms are blaring a symphony of impending doom. And somehow, against all odds, he doesn't just survive. He turns the tables, sending 7 of those adversaries burning into the sea. Sounds like something ripped straight out of a video game, right? An impossible fantasy? Well, guess what? It happened. And that, my friends, is just one of the absolutely mind-blowing stories we're about to dive into today. From the scarlet, canvas-winged biplanes of World War I, where chivalry still clung to the edges of brutal combat, to the sleek supersonic jets of today, pushing the very edge of space, fighter pilots have always lived on that razor's edge. It's the thin line between undeniable legend and what many might dismiss as pure lunacy. These aren't just mere tales of courage, though there's certainly no shortage of that. No, these are concrete, documented proofs that sometimes the most outrageous, unbelievable stories are the ones that actually played out in the unforgiving arena of the sky. So seriously, buckle up. We're about to count down some of the most jaw-dropping, mind-bending air combat feats ever recorded, whispered about by the pilots who miraculously survived them, and of course, forever etched into the memory of the ghosts of those who didn't make it home. Let's kick things off with a name that still echoes through history: Manfred von Richthofen, better known as the Red Baron. What many people don't realize is that this legendary figure, the ace of aces of World War I, never actually wanted to be a pilot. Can you believe that? His initial foray into the Great War saw him as an observer, tucked into the back seat of a clunky, slow-moving 2-seater reconnaissance plane. Picture it, freezing at 8,000 feet, the wind whipping past, his face wrapped in a thick scarf not unlike a dental patient enduring a particularly chilly procedure. It was a far cry from the glamorous high-speed duels he would later become famous for. He was spotting for artillery, a vital but hardly thrilling job. Then fate intervened. He crossed paths with Oswald Boelcke, Germany's first superstar flyer, a man whose name was already synonymous with aerial prowess. Boelcke, with his keen eye for talent, saw something in the young Richthofen, a raw, undeniable potential. He famously told him, "You've got the killer eye. Learn to turn and you'll own the sky." It was a simple piece of advice, yet it was the spark that ignited a legend. Richthofen took those words to heart, applying his innate hunting instincts to the nascent art of aerial combat. He wasn't just flying. He was learning to hunt. Within a single year, that quiet observer had transformed into the most feared man in the air. He famously painted his albatross biplane a blood-red hue. When asked why such a brazen choice, he simply quipped, "If they're going to stare, let them stare at something pretty." But pretty quickly turned lethal. That vibrant red became a terrifying calling card, a harbinger of doom for Allied pilots. He racked up an astonishing 80 confirmed kills, every single one meticulously logged in a small leather-bound black book he kept tucked away in his tunic pocket. This wasn't just about shooting down planes. It was a methodical, almost scientific approach to aerial dominance. Richthofen's real trick wasn't just pinpoint marksmanship, though he was certainly a crack shot. It was, as he himself might have described it, geometry. He understood the three-dimensional battlefield of the sky better than almost anyone else. He attacked from the blinding glare of the sun, making himself almost invisible until the last possible second. He executed dives at angles that seemed impossible, catching his adversaries completely off guard. And just as quickly as he appeared, he'd pull away, a phantom in the sky before the enemy could even swivel their guns to bear. British pilots, both terrified and grudgingly admiring, dubbed him the Red Devil. German propaganda, ever eager to capitalize on a national hero, heralded him as Der Rote Kampfflieger, the Red Battle Flyer. He was a phenomenon, a celebrity of the skies, and a master tactician. But here's the craziest part, the detail that truly humanizes this aerial titan. He kept souvenirs. Not just photographs or medals, but tangible pieces of his conquests. A steering wheel from a downed British bomber, a broken propeller blade he repurposed as a fireplace poker in his quarters. Imagine that. It speaks to a time when war, even in the impersonal vastness of the sky, was still deeply personal. It was a bloody high-stakes chess match played out at 100 miles an hour, where each victory left a physical, tangible mark on the victor. Then came that fateful day, for April 1918. He was chasing a young Canadian pilot, Wilfred May, flying a Sopwith Camel. Richthofen, in his relentless pursuit, descended too low, far behind enemy lines, over the rolling fields of the Somme. A single .303 round, fired either by Canadian ground troops or by May's squadron mate Arthur Roy Brown, a debate that continues to this day, pierced his heart. His iconic red triplane with its legendary pilot slumped in the cockpit landed remarkably upright in a beat field. Australian troops, upon discovering the downed legend, swarmed the plane, stripping it for pieces of history. One corporal even snipped a swatch of that distinctive red fabric, a piece that still sits, a silent testament to a bygone era, in the Australian War Memorial. 80 kills, one lucky shot, and a legend that, despite the passage of over a century, absolutely refuses to die. The Red Baron wasn't just a pilot. He was an era, a symbol, and a chilling reminder of the brutal beauty of early air combat. Fast forward about 25 years, and the world is plunged into an even more devastating conflict. This time we meet a quiet kid from Württemberg, Germany, who would go on to become statistically the deadliest human being ever to strap into a cockpit. His name was Erich Hartmann. This unassuming pilot flew an astonishing 404 combat missions, engaged in aerial combat 895 times, and shot down an almost unfathomable 352 Soviet aircraft. And here's another astonishing detail. He never once lost a wingman due to enemy action. Think about that for a second. In the chaos and carnage of the Eastern Front, where life expectancy for pilots was measured in weeks, Hartmann was an anomaly, a phenomenon of survival and destruction. His prowess earned him a terrifying moniker among the Russian forces: Cherny Chort, the Black Devil. This wasn't just a casual nickname. It was born from the distinctive black tulip petal painted on the nose of his Messerschmitt Bf 109. Early in his career, Soviet pilots, upon seeing that dreaded emblem, would often break off engagements, choosing discretion over valor when facing the Black Devil. It became such a psychological deterrent that Hartmann, ever the pragmatist, actually had the emblem scrubbed off his plane. Why? So he could get closer to his targets, removing their early warning system and ensuring they wouldn't flee before he could engage. He was a hunter, and he wanted his prey to stay. Hartmann's secret wasn't flashy acrobatics or long-range missile shots. Those didn't exist then, of course. His secret was patience and almost unnerving discipline. He would wait, often for agonizing seconds, until the enemy aircraft completely filled his windscreen, sometimes closing to within a mere 50 meters, before he would squeeze the trigger. It was an incredibly dangerous tactic, requiring nerves of steel and absolute confidence in his aircraft and his own judgment. You see the rivets on the rudder, you see the fear in his eyes, then you fire, he famously told a post-war interviewer. This close-quarters approach wasn't just about accuracy. It was about maximizing the impact of his limited ammunition and ensuring a kill with every burst. He perfected the boom and zoom tactic, diving on an unsuspecting enemy, delivering a devastating burst, and then using his speed to disengage and climb back to a position of advantage. Despite his incredible kill count, Hartmann was no stranger to danger. He survived an astonishing 16 forced landings due to battle damage or mechanical failure. Imagine the sheer resilience required for that. On one occasion, he even managed to glide his crippled Messerschmitt back to German lines with an entire cylinder blown clean off his engine. His survival wasn't just luck. It was a testament to his exceptional flying skills and an almost supernatural ability to keep a damaged plane in the air. When the war finally ended, Hartmann, like many German soldiers, surrendered to the Americans. However, due to political agreements, he was controversially handed over to the Soviets. What followed was a decade of unimaginable hardship. He spent 10 brutal years in a gulag, a Soviet forced labor camp, enduring starvation, torture, and psychological torment. Yet even there, his spirit was unbroken. He reportedly taught aerodynamics to fellow prisoners, using sticks scratched in the dirt to illustrate principles of flight. It's a remarkable image. The greatest ace in history, stripped of everything, still sharing his knowledge and passion for the skies. Finally, in 1955, he was released and returned to West Germany, a free man. He immediately rejoined the newly formed Luftwaffe and played a crucial role in shaping its future, teaching NATO pilots the invaluable art of close-quarters combat. When asked if he ever felt guilt over his actions during the war, he simply shrugged. It wasn't a callous dismissal, but a